The ayes to the right, 312. The noes to the left, 308.
British lawmakers rejected a no-deal Brexit, a proposal to leave the European Union without a formal exit deal on Wednesday, March 13th. This comes a day after a humiliating defeat for British Prime Minister Theresa May. Lawmakers overwhelmingly voted down May's withdrawal agreement on Tuesday, March 12th, for the second time.
So the noes have it. The noes have it.
Opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn has called for new elections and recently backed calls for another referendum on Brexit.
Maybe it's time instead we had a general election and the people could choose who their government should be.
On Thursday, March 14th, Parliament is due to vote on whether to ask the EU for an extension to the March 29th divorce date, which is enshrined in law, something to which all the other bloc's 27 members must agree. Earlier on Wednesday, The Real News spoke with residents of Bradford, England, asking what they thought should happen next.
I think our politicians really have failed miserably as an entity, not just one party.
I think it's affecting all businesses in Britain. I think the uncertainty is the main thing. They don't know who they can trade with, how they're going to trade with them.
To me, it feels like we're all in a bit of a limbo situation.
We shouldn't be leaving on terms that completely restrict us. I think it's an unfortunate situation to be in. However, we are where we are. The EU clearly don't want us to leave. There needs to be a compromise. This country has decided they want to leave, and we want to trade with the EU, so we need to figure out how to do that.
You know, there is no consensus. I think that's the difficulty. So, and we're not going to get a consensus in Parliament either. So the only way to get any sort of, an agreement on is to go back to the people and just say, what would you like? How would you like a harder Brexit? Would you like a softer Brexit? Or no Brexit,
It's out of order. Why would anybody waste their time re-voting if they don't respect the first one? We can keep going and say, well, you didn't respect the first one, let's do it again until they get the decision they want. What's the point?
During the first referendum, there were a lot of lies being spread, especially by, I think it's Nigel Farage, especially because he was driving around a big bus saying, oh yeah, all this money that goes to the EU, we'll put it in the NHS instead. That was revealed as a lie pretty much right after the referendum.
Many agreed British lawmakers must address austerity's impacts as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Bradford, it's like one of the poorest cities in the UK. Inequality is massive here. They don't need to address things in Europe, because when we was in Europe, they didn't address things. Now they're trying to address it, saying Europe will fix things. I mean, they don't sort things out in this country,
Brexit is taking away from all those things massively. And if I go back to saying that I thought that the referendum was ill-posed, then actually we could have avoided this, because really the drive to controlling immigration, for example, or migration, which has become quite a popular trend in the world, actually isn't very productive.
There is an impact on our everyday lives, like you're saying, in terms of austerity or in terms of the education sector. There's a lot of things that probably would have been at the forefront of policy and thinking, and issues that are affecting everyday, like universal credit, for instance.
Our MPs and our government should be focusing on what the people need right now. However, there was a vote and they need to deal with that. I'd like them to still be focusing on everything else that needs to be done to make sure that we're looking after everyone within this country, from the lower earners to the higher earners, and making sure that we've got the healthcare that we need and we've got the support system in place to make sure that we can function properly.
For The Real News, this is Jessel Noor in Bradford, England.